Supine. Supine's an interesting position. A lot of the other ones have some type of advantage to them to get into, whereas supine is typically one of those positions where you end up in it, like a slip, trip, and fall, and then of course now you're on your back, and the question is, how do we do our engagement? Well, when I'm on my back, the pistol's really easy because we don't have a height over bore issue. The pistol's basically line of sight. Some body position things that we need to consider. Some people teach leaving your legs up. And that is one way to do it. If I were to leave my legs up, I look at that for like a hunting perspective. Like I've got a hillside behind me, I want a little bit more support. I almost look at that as a sitting supported position. But supine generally is flat on your back, and for me, the way I prefer to teach it and the way I do it, and remember again, these are choices that you're gonna have to make, I like keeping legs flat and feet flat. And the reason being is on a flat range, it's easy because the target is straight in front of you. But that real life human being could be moving. And what you'll typically find is for people that have to leave their legs up, you have to kind of crab yourself into position one way or the other in order to get a good line of fire on a suspect without shooting yourself in the legs. In an effort to avoid that altogether, if I keep my feet flat, it allows me to track the suspect from one position to another position without ever having to worry about moving my legs or my feet. The other thing is, it's one thing to be running a pistol right now, but if I'm running a long gun, I have a height over bore issue, especially if you're running a 12 gauge with maybe an optic, or even if you're just running irons. One thing about a shotgun is if you're off just slightly with trajectory, you're gonna end up removing body parts really quickly. So again, for me, I like keeping my lower body as flat to the earth as possible. The next thing, getting up. There's generally two ways I can get up. One way would be just by bending at the waist, getting a good plant with my reaction hand, and then pushing the earth away from me. However, if we're wearing body armor, or if we're wearing kit, or depending upon what your build and or injuries are, you may end up having to roll to your right, more of like an urban prone position, in order to get pushed back up to at least a kneeling position, okay? At the end of the day, we are typically getting up with our gun in our hand because we just were involved in a shoot, so we're still probably holding security on the suspect. However, if we know we've neutralized them, or if you feel comfortable, you may end up holstering that handgun, using both hands to get up at that point. It may be your safest option. In the end, these are personal choices for you. Application, we talked about, you might be doing a room entry where you end up, slip, trip, fall, whatever happens. Middle of the night at your house, you might be running across a tile floor. That could cause a problem. And of course, generally, I'm not wearing shoes to bed. At least that's not comfortable for me. That means I'm barefoot. If you have children, then typically that means you have Legos. If you have Legos, it's the equivalent of taking broken glass and or ninja stars and throwing them across your rug if you end up stepping on one of these things in the middle of the night. So remember, if I run across this thing and all of a sudden catches me off guard and I end up on my back, yes, the position's not the greatest, but it doesn't mean that I can't perform or shoot from that position. So again, supine's just one of the positions that you may end up finding yourself in.